All righty. Guess who we fired this week?
The old fireman himself.
We were missing the fireman. And that voice you hear right now, we didn't actually fire Kevin, but the voice you hear right now is the smooth, sultry sounds of Frank Mann Jr.
This linguistic stylings.
Yes, he has smooth linguistic stylings. The voice you haven't heard yet is Cliff Amata, the Bromata Life, the team captain. I can't read lips. Say
Awkward silence.
Oh, he's the king of awkward silence. That was his favorite moment when we interviewed Mitch Payton.
Oh, yeah.
Mitch wasn't digging it at first.
He wasn't.
He was probably grinding a cylinder, let's be real.
Well, that's
right?
the key to these things. You're supposed to talk.
I thought he was honing a head.
Maybe he was honing a head. But listen, we're at the Colorado 500. We are sitting poolside in, where are we at?
Poolside in Box Canyon.
Ouray, Colorado.
Ouray, Colorado.
That's
so
right.
not only are we in an epic place, there's a lot of epic riders at this event.
There are.
This is a storied event. This is the 48th year, right?
48th year, yeah.
48 years of people coming to the mountains of Colorado to ride. And that's what brings out the big guns, right?
It sure does, yeah. Wally started about 48 years ago, Wally Dallenbach, and started bringing, all his IndyCar people, and it got to be such a hit. They became, being philanthropic as they are, just started this ride, and, we've all get to be blessed to be a part of what he built.
That's right, and it is epic. And it does a lot of good in the area. It does a lot of good for local schools.
That's right, it does. I mean, all the charities, from trail preservation to search and rescue to, the school, school activities.
Yeah.
There's just so much good that comes out of it. And everybody that comes here knows they want to come to ride here, but more importantly, they want to come and be a part of something pretty cool.
Exactly. So who do you have sitting to your left there, Frank?
Some guy that he rides in the desert, rides Hondas, and I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2013. I was scared to death to ride Sand Whoops, but evidently he was pretty good at it, and he gave me the confidence to ride him a little faster. But he should know it's Johnny Campbell, the 11-time Baja 1000 champion.
11 times. Hey, Johnny, how's it going?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on today. We're up in this beautiful canyon up here. It's just amazing, the scenery here. And, we've been having some fun the last few days.
You can be honest. Is this the most ghetto interview you've ever sat down for?
It's quite possibly the most ghetto interview I've
See,
sat down
thank
for.
you. And I take that as a compliment. If you're talking about, compliments you could sling my way, ghetto podcast or ghetto interview, I'll take it, man, all day long. So I have a couple of questions. You are obviously a very legendary motorcycle racer, accomplished desert racer. When you look up everything you've won, is there anything you haven't won? Tell me something, because the list is long, man. If you win Baja 11 times, they don't even talk about the Baja 500, which you probably won it 5 or 6 times, man.
Or the San Felipe 250, or Vegas to
Reno.
or Terriblestown, or the Silver State.
You haven't introduced me yet, but I was going to say his biggest win ever is being married to his wife, because she's a badass dirt bike rider, and she's full of fun. And I like
awesome.
her. I like the Doc. We call her the Doc. You'll have to ask her someday why, but she is the best part of the Campbell family, 100%.
Right on. And that voice you're hearing is also got a smooth vocal styling. It's Cameron Steele from the Desert Assassins, ripped to Cabo. We had him on the show probably a month ago, maybe. And Cameron is here in full force with a team of how many?
Donkeys.
Donkeys.
Team of donkeys.
He got a team of donkeys.
We brought the big top, so the circus is in town.
It is a big top. That's like a 60-foot long.
And somehow or another, we convinced Johnson to come ride with us too. I thought for sure he was off with one of the other teams, but he's got a little bit of a safety net with us because he knows we take care of him out there.
There's a comfort zone for sure. Yeah.
Well, to make it uncomfortable, to circle back just a little, when we had Cameron on the show, I said, "Hey, man, Johnny Campbell's going to be there." He goes, "Yeah, he's like the biggest dork of all." And I'm like, "Hey, man, I don't know, but I'm just saying, I'm throwing you under the bus, but I'm joking."
I could tell you this is that we're from the same surf ghetto in San Clemente, and I got to say, Cameron's a couple years older than me, and his generation was rough, man. Those guys, they tore it up for sure, and I think it started tapering down in my generation.
It got nicer.
There's definitely still a bunch of donkeys, but I got my foot in the donkey zone, so here
That's
I am.
right. That's right. Well, and not only that, but you two guys this is a very legitimate event. But if before we really get all into Colorado 500, was there a race that you didn't win? I mean, your list is long. What didn't you win?
There was a lot of failures and learning process to get to the wins. So there's many races I won. I mean, I racked up 3 second places in the Ball 1000 before we struck the W. But that took 5 years to get to there. So one win that eluded me was in 2006. We introduced the CRF 450X. We're transitioning from the XR, the big
Carbureted.
XR, to the 450X. It was carbureted that time also, but. I elected to team with a couple of young up-and-comers, Robbie Bell and Kendall Norman.
Yep.
And I rode the last night section against my former partner, Steve Hingeveld.
Yep.
And those guys shit the bed, excuse me. But
No problem.
Robbie crashed. Robbie got a flat. Kendall crashed. Rode 75 miles with broken wrist. And we ended up second,
Wow.
But that would have been my 10th victory in a row.
Yeah.
So I got 9 in a row, a second, and then I came back and won 2 more before I called it. That's enough.
Right. So
That's pretty fast.
To me, that's an epic run. I mean, it's legendary. I mean, I know like the difficulty of putting together a team that can accomplish a race that wants to kill you. It wants to kill your bike, and so those XR years was that bike fully worked out and it didn't have as many issues? I mean, like you immediately mentioned the first year of that 450 RX. Was that really the reason that it sort of dropped off? I mean, is that it dropped off for that second just because of the bad luck? Was it the bike's fault, or is it just how the Baja is?
No, it's racing. It's like it's all about decision making, and whether your decision is to place a wheel on this line or to change a wheel at this point or run this tire or not. It's all about decision making and executing and positioning yourself to be in the right position. And at that race, we were a tick off. So the 450X on their debut still won.
Yeah.
Our B team won
Right.
and stuff. But it's just that's particular racing.
Well, so all right. So what was your first motorcycle?
Honda XR75.
That's what I hoped he would say. That's me and Frank. Me and Frank
That's
love the
right.
XR75, and we got a few of them. So
That's right.
what year XR75?
That was in 1978. I was 9 years old.
That was my first bike.
77.
78.
Yep. Yeah.
Right on. Cameron, what was your first bike?
My first bike was a Yamaha. I don't remember what it was, but I know it was a Yamaha. That's all I remember.
Some little enduro bike?
My dad started me riding when I was about 5. And the first bike I really remember was sometime around 7 or 8. That
Okay.
was the bike. Double shock in the rear, pretty
Yeah.
fired up. You're going to have to dig pretty hard, by the way, if you're going to try to get some dirt out of Johnny, because he's like the most humble human you ever met,
I can
right?
tell.
So
I mean,
he's
I
not
can
going to
tell.
say he's the greatest, but he is. And you just
He
gotta-
is.
Yet when you start thinking about 11-time champion, Kelly Slater did that in surf.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan couldn't do that, right? In basketball, he had to get out of there, even though he's the greatest of all time. Gretzky. I mean, think about these
What
names.
did Carmichael have 10 titles in a row or something like that?
Carmichael's amazing.
Johnny's got 11.
Johnny's in that rare air with these guys, right?
Yeah.
And he always says if Kelly Slater wins another world title, he's going to have
Coming
to go
back.
back and race again so he can match him.
Gotta dust
But
the boots off.
I don't know if you're going to get him to. For those,
Start
of you,
bragging.
for those of you not watching at home, the naked party boy who sits on everybody's
Is that
motorcycles.
Fawcett?
He's over here. He's
I think he's coming
he's
to the
Fawcett.
dancing
I
around
think
the
that's
whole
a
area.
tattoo. I don't think he's even wearing shorts. Those
That's,
are tattoos.
Oh,
That is
boy.
painted on, dude. It looks like he printed it in a printer.
Is that a jean short?
He's
Speedo?
wearing
This
That
is
is a
really
jean.
disturbing. I'm just disturbed.
I'm not. These guys are totally comfortable. They're always something hanging out.
It's weird, but you know what? The group we come from down there.
Don't look
they're-
that way.
It's normal.
It's San Clemente. That's your crew right there. Yeah. So circle to you're at the Colorado 500. Have you done this event before?
Hold on, John.
Hold on. Nicholas hasn't.
I don't have headphones, but
Here,
I've got
eat that microphone.
I've got an announcement. We've got an in and out board here for people, so we make sure nobody's lost out on the trail. And it appears that we're still got somebody out on the trail named Frank Mann.
Oh,
His
he's-
magnet is
yeah.
still
I think this is
on
a good
the-
time for me to turn this mic over to you.
Hey,
Go
the
get,
board.
Hey,
Sounds
this
like a
checking me
stupid
out.
bucket
sounds
donation.
like a
like a-
stupid bucket. $100
I
there,
think
Frank.
that is definitely a donation. So I'm going to check out, let you guys have fun, and let me go get myself out of this hole I've apparently dug.
Oh, just leave
Unbelievable.
Like that, Frank.
Of all the people who've ridden the Colorado 500 more than a few times, Frank, if you leave your name on the outboard, there's a crew looking for you. So thanks, Frank. Overtime on you. So yeah, Johnny, I'm not looking for you to brag, man, but we all do think that you are the Carmichael level off-road person, and I know he's probably maybe a different era and all those things, but in our world, I mean, we're from the moto world. That is I guess that's the biggest compliment we can throw your way.
Oh,
You know what I
thanks.
mean?
Thank
And
you.
so Cliff he's meandering back and forth right here, the Bromata team affiliate. But his angle of asking you a question was American Honda. This guy Cliff is from Aspen. He rides a Honda. His son rides a Honda, and there's two other people in Colorado that ride a Honda. and really, Cliff's your thing was, how do we change that? And you've had a lot to do with Honda's off-road world. I mean, that 450 RX. I mean, that's you, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Honda is a awesome brand. Obviously, I've been with them for over 3 decades, racing, developing, helping them with so many different projects, helping to build the Dakar winning machine.
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, Honda makes wonderful product. The one thing that's different, like the Japanese brands they're very conservative brand, and so they're looking at strictly numbers and where they can place the best sale and stuff, and so they're smart.
Yeah.
And they've been in business a long time, and so I'd like to change the demographic and stuff, but sometimes it's a slow moving machine, and it's hard to you have all these exciting ideas, but you got to make that fit with their business plan.
For sure.
Yeah, it's hard to talk them into anything when they got the Lawrence brothers slaughtering everyone, right? And I'm
Truth
pretty
to that.
sure, didn't they win the Ball 1000 last year too? I mean, they're doing pretty good. but-
Honda's never not at the top.
yeah,
or
but
right
that's all
beside it.
because Johnny is helping develop these bikes. I mean, I know he's not going to say it, but he's working hard to make it good for everyone. And I think some more ideas for Honda would be sweet. I think that it's I'm a Red Rider,
Yeah.
and I love my Hondas, and I would love to see them get more involved with a little bit off script.
Yeah.
But I know that that's kind of their deal. They're on script,
Conservative
so they're buttoned
Japanese,
up.
yeah.
And I respect it. But at the same time, I'd love to see some a little bit of curveball coming at you. You
Yeah.
know?
It's one of those things kind of with Honda.
That's Nick Blackman, by
Oh,
the
yeah.
way. He switched out with Frank Mann.
Yep.
Nick
Better
was
late than
late to
never.
the show. Better
That's
late
a
than
good
never.
thing.
Yep.
Yes,
So,
Johnny will take
yeah.
that.
Introduce myself, Johnny.
That's
Hey, how you
Johnny.
doing?
That's Nick Blackman. He's unfortunately known as Sugar Balls Blackman, and so Johnny, though, I started to ask
I
before
was
we.
talking.
Okay, yeah, right.
That's how we got. That's
Circle
how we got
back
started
there.
on this.
Circle back.
But I'm a little late to the show. But Honda's almost like a success is a poor teacher thing. But even though it's not a poor teacher, but they're like you said, like Cameron says, when you're killing it, they don't. It's not broke. Don't fix it a whole lot. So. I mean,
There is constant development, and I'm involved in every level, right? So it's like, I'm the guy that's on the ground. I'm the guy talking to you guys and the customers and what they want, and I'm relaying information back to those guys and those departments and stuff that need to know. And so it's like even a few years ago we came out with the XR lineup, the RX lineup,
Yeah.
and the RX lineup was kind of in between. There's an X for off-road, desert racing, and then there's the R for motocross, right?
Yep.
And now they've expanded that lineup and they plopped the RX down in there as their kind of closed course competition off-road bike.
Yeah.
That's derived from the 450R, so it's a lighter weight, it's more nimble, but this is. And then they also have the WE, which is the Works Edition.
Works Edition.
So there's actually, like, if you look at the 450 lineup, you got a WE, an R, you have an RX, you have an X, you have an RL. So
So it really is they are doing things. Things are moving.
Things are moving. There's a lot of models to choose from, and it like I said, it's a constant development, and it's been super fun to be part of that. And and on top of that is my really exciting project is being involved with the Dakar Rally project for the last 12 years. Have worked on that machine, the CRF 450 Rally.
Big rally, yeah.
And that's a true works machine, and to be able to work on a bike that and evolve it to where it can win the Dakar Rally has been a huge notch on my career.
How long? I'm a little bit late to the party, but
You
how long,
said
have
that.
We talked about how
you
long.
said that already. Are you constantly making excuses for yourself?
There's no
Lay it
just
in there
reasons,
heavy, Cam.
Just reasons. I had to wash everybody's bike today, so that's what I was.
You didn't wash my bike?
Yeah, I did too. You just
Liar,
don't know it
liar,
yet.
pants on fire.
It was the red Honda, right?
Cameron's
I got that,
bringing it,
yeah.
man.
Cameron has a nice new 450X, JCR prepped and sponsored.
Johnny
so-
Campbell Racing.
I was
that's
going to
right.
say, and we'll get back to your question, but I was so excited when they brought that L out, right? Because now we have a plated Honda.
Yep.
We can go ride all these different places with, and for a long time they didn't offer one. And the European brands were offering, and so a lot of people were like, "Hey, well, this and that has a plate." Honda said, "All right, here's a plated bike, and thing's badass." I rode it here in Colorado for a couple years. The thing, people think it's bigger, but it really isn't. Similar to my X, and it rides so good. I mean, I think they did a great job.
Is
with
it that? How do you like? I looked at that bike serious.
He's a Honda guy.
I'm a Honda guy.
He rides
Yeah.
Hondas.
I love the L personally. There's not a big stretch of difference. Johnny can tell you the differences between the bikes, but I do like my X that I'm riding now. But the L was great to me. I rode it 2019, 20, 21, and 22, and 23.
Because you ride it in something like.
I
would
rode
you
it
ride
here. I rode
Okay.
it here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my question. because
I prefer my X here. I don't know why, because they're so similar, but I do prefer my X, but it might just be the way it's set up also.
Yeah.
Because Johnny and his JCR Honda guys, they set up my bike, so I don't necessarily know how many clickers are turned into it. And so it's a little bit of a mystery to me.
I'm not sure what you're talking about with clickers.
Yeah,
but-
he does. Nick doesn't know much on mechanics.
But I'm pretty sure that I brought the wrong motorcycle here, so I may be looking.
Hey,
at
I'll
that
tell
Honda.
you, that L, the plated model in Georgia, I mean, out west here, you can grab as many miles of trail as you want. But in Georgia, which is where we're from, I mean, you've got to connect those sections because you're going to touch pavement. There's no way around it. So, fortunate that they offer that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like I'm riding a 450L here, and it's working wonderfully. I've been over Alpine Trail and all the hard stuff, and it's great. Then you got that 6 gear. You get on the highway and just idle down the highway.
Overdrive.
I'm sure this
See,
bike.
he's telling you the difference. I didn't even know that the one had
6
5
speed, yeah.
speed, one had 6.
You don't count them when you ship. You don't look at it.
Never. But when I used to jump the freestyle ramps, I always had to shift to first gear first
And go
to
up.
make sure I was in the right gear because it scared the
mattered.
crap out of me. It did matter.
It matters.
Yeah, I'm like that too. When people say, "Well, what gear do you hit that in?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not paying.
I can tell you at any given time what gear I'm in. I'm paying attention the whole time, but I don't count them like I used to on the freestyle.
I
deal.
couldn't tell you.
Right on. Well, Johnny, I'll ask you one more question. We'll kind of, circle more to Cameron. But so yesterday, or it might have been Monday when we were in Crested Butte, I kind of said, hey, for an elite level rider as yourself, a lot of these elite dudes cannot turn off how fast they used to be. And so riding is not as fulfilling for them as they age. And you pretty much described.
Dude, you just called Johnny Campbell old.
I don't care.
heard
He's
you
almost.
say
He's
it.
1 year old. He's 1 year different from me. So
Yeah, he's 1
He's
year. He's,
perpetually 35.
he's the
Back
same
off.
age as Sugar Balls
I'm here to
Blackman.
defend
yeah, I think I'm a
him.
year older. I think you're a year. But we
Johnny's younger, 1 year younger than you.
okay.
Yeah.
So we talk about
Sorry,
that a lot because
Johnny.
we've got friends that were like, super fast guys, and they just don't ride anymore because they're like, I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. I'm afraid
Or, I might start
can't
going
turn it
too
off.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just need to win, or they go try it and their timing's a little off, and they try to jump something they jumped 15
Yeah.
years ago, and they do get hurt.
Maybe you can speak to that, Johnny.
Yeah, no,
'cause-
it's a real thing for a professional athlete that's been working all their life to achieve, and their job is to continually progress and win and stuff, and so it's hard. There is a lot of my peers in my age group that don't know how to turn it off, and so they either go out and just run at 100% and they get hurt
Till they crash.
because it's like you're not 28 anymore, you're not 25, you're not, And so it's easy to tweak a knee. It's easy to, get off. Your timing's off. Your eyesight's not as good, and your reflexes aren't as good.
Yeah.
And so you have to manage that. You got to manage it and bring it down, because it's like you're not as sharp as you used to be, bud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way it is.
There's different kinds of riders too, right? There's guys that are just like, they get to the gate and they turn off the brain and they just hold it wide, right? But then there's other riders that use common sense and ride with smarts. And sometimes they can't win every single race, but they still strive to do their best. And I think that some of those riders that can't turn it off, they're more in jeopardy, I think, when it's time to go out and ride some more. Maybe that's why they don't ride. But for me, one thing that I notice, it's hard from being I wasn't really a great athlete.
You were
but
a professional,
yes,
though. You were
I
a
was.
professional.
But more of the announcer side. So when I used to go to the track, I'd get all these people that want to race with you and race right next to you. Right. And that's the most dangerous part. And I totally shifted gears and came up with this whole different concept of riding from place to place and riding internationally. And I think that Johnny and I have both benefited from getting out and riding with people, but not having to ride right handlebar to handlebar as fast as you can from corner to corner, because that's dog shit, man. That's for the kids.
For the kids.
And when Johnny goes and rides Baja, we just have fun, and he rides a trail. It's I think you got to open up your paradigm in your thinking and stuff. But I'll also say this: Johnny and I have created another career on the backside of our riding. We still ride, and it's still part of our job, but we have to use our mind to be the best we can be for the job that we're doing. For me, I'm hosting trips.
Yeah.
I'm calling events. I'm doing some silliness on the dirt bikes. I got to think about what I'm doing, and I'm not out there just to go fast. Today, I actually had a moment. I'm riding over one of the passes here at the Colorado 500. Actually, we're riding over Corkscrew from California, and I just kind of was just third and fourth gear coming down the hill. Yes, I could probably turn the throttle a little bit more, but I was just kind of coasting and cruising, and I got on the talk button on my radio, and I said, hey, if you guys want to go around me, go ahead. I'm going to the river with my kids in 2 days, and I don't need to go show up with road rash from these damn rocks that are embedded in every place.
Or worse.
Yeah, right. I'm here to have fun, and that's the kind of thing you got to be able to turn it off and do it. Some guys walk away because they can't, but I think there's guys like Johnny and Jeremy McGrath and a few other guys. Ricky Carmichael still rides. There's guys that were smart about it and changed gears and found a way to make it work for them in a different way. And I'm sure MC doesn't want to go to the track every day because everybody wants to measure up. But MC is still MC.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jeremy, he and Johnny are like very like souls, right? Because super approachable, very humble, very helpful for everybody around him. Just they are like the aces of motorcycle racing. Just so humble and easy to get along with, and that's why they're still doing
Makes them
it.
a great champion.
That's
right?
why, that's why they're still helping their teams. That's why they're still so valuable, because they're a part of it and they can be humble. They can step back from being the beating on your chest, which Johnny never did. But
No, but he earned enough right to do so, and he didn't.
He
And
can
that
do
says a
whatever he
lot
wants.
about his character, right? But, Johnny, your statement was, I'm older now. I love motorcycles. Of course, I want to do what I used to do, but I manage it to the level that I can maintain. And I can tell you, Cinnamon Pass, Engineer Pass, all this Hurricane Corkscrew, I was so thankful to be alive just riding that today. And I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
What if we just we can't slow down, man. We can't ride.
Yeah.
We would never have gotten to experience that today.
Right. Mine is not necessarily having to slow down. I'm the only guy that I've met that's my age in motocross that almost didn't go pro. Everybody else my age, I could have gone pro.
I used to race Hannah.
Yeah, I used to do. I almost went pro. I was slow then. I'm slow now.
I did it the opposite. I shouldn't have turned pro, but I did just because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll tell you why I turned pro, because I wanted to race Supercross. I didn't want to shift into fifth gear.
Yeah.
On the outdoor tracks, right? So where I grew up, I was fast in the lower levels. And I didn't really appreciate being at Barona Oaks or Carlsbad or any of those places with all those crappy Glen Helen. You want to race and be a good intermediate, you got to race at Glen Helen.
Yeah.
Hell with that. I'm over that.
Right on.
I did the helmet camera out there for ESPN
when it
I was
weighed
there.
74 pounds.
Right. I didn't shift into fifth gear. No.
Hey, but on TV it still looked good.
Yeah,
you know?
I
fact-
remember that.
I just wanted to jump the jumps, and it was a perfectly groomed track every time we went
Right.
out.
I remember seeing a picture of that,
That was
big
the
camera,
key.
and I was like, he should have just got somebody to ride on the back with a camera.
The weight, based on that camera.
Times have changed. Now I'm running 2 GoPros at one time. They're so small and so easy. And back then, running the pack and the camera and trying to we faked the audio sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of work, but it was so much fun to be able to ride all those tracks. So the way we did it for 2 years is I would ride the track before anybody.
Yeah.
So I got to ride
Primo.
Unadilla in the grass. I got to ride Southwick, totally groomed sand. I could rail any.
You're a hero.
I put the bad line down first. In the beginners ride practice first.
Yeah.
And
When they say
strip
the
all
track
lines.
didn't set up real good today.
That was I'm sure that those guys, Mike Brown was probably out there. Yeah, Cameron rode it and ruined the track for us all.
Because the next
But
guy's
I-
going to follow your line, right?
But on the flip side, I did have to ride Southwick after all the practices also.
you paid for it, right?
Eventually it transformed into me riding in the timed practices.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. But yeah,
which was gnarly that
Yeah.
you did TV in timed practice. They would never do that today,
And
right?
every once in a while, I was lucky that I was riding in the second group,
Yeah.
right? I was lucky I wasn't riding with the really good guys
Yeah.
because some of those guys are my friends. I'm sure they would have taken my wheel out, just for fun, give
Yeah,
me a little
just to-
gas. But the
so
other guys,
good.
the second practice, everybody's like charging, like they're so focused, and I was just focused on going fast, so I wasn't in the way.
so you
the
try
whole
to
time.
steer clear of messing
Yeah.
somebody's lap
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah. They were timing me. They had a transponder on me.
No, that's not good.
That's so funny, man.
That makes it tough right there.
Well, you mentioned media and filming and voice and all this stuff. I mean, part of the allure of having the Desert Assassins at the Colorado 500 is, man, you guys capture some really good stuff. I mean, I thought it was your camera that got front flip Steven clipping some tree and doing a complete aerial. That's Steven Adams. Full aerial flip I don't know how you guys film everything. It took everything we had just to complete the mileage and make it here in time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to make them feel too good about themselves, but the media team that we brought here is a whole other circus outside
Okay.
of just the dirt biking. But that was Eric Everly. He owns a company called Temp Media, and he's embedded with us as a rider. He and Kyler Ruskin and Neil Goss, who's our main producer of all of our TV and web content, he's riding also. So we have
That's what we're doing wrong.
Yeah, that's really good.
we have 4 riding shooters, including myself. I'm actually carrying a camera to get
Okay.
out and shoot. So, the team does a great job. We brought our editor here, Ryan Ray, who's behind the scenes getting stuff, and then Jimmy Lee Cook, who's with us all the time on every event we do. He builds our social, does edits. He's a drone guy. So we have a pretty solid team. Then you add the chase guys like Corey and Nar to support them. It's a pretty big moving machine, really, but we're like very run and gun, have fun. And we like taking jobs that are close to our heart. And
Yeah.
so last year when we embedded in the Colorado 500, all of a sudden there was a little talk about us doing some social. We're like, yeah, we can bring the whole team. What do you want to do?
That's cool.
And so we kind of threw it all out there, and I thought we had good success. And this year, up in the ante, we're going to CBS Sports and we're going to Hulu. Yeah, so we're going to have some web content and some TV content. Aggregate, that's like 150 million viewers possible.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty excited about it. And we've had a great capture. And I think so far, after a few days, there's been some great stuff. Your buddy doing the front flip, that was terrible. I rode that section, and I had to go through that section. I wasn't.
Oh, and you didn't do a front flip?
I didn't.
Oh,
No,
that's
I
weird.
rode. So he rode through the hole in the roots where they went down close to the tree.
He knows.
I rode up to the dangerous side with because where the roots flow down, it gets slippery in the rain. I took a little bit. I don't call it going faster. I say I'm committed to it.
Yes.
So you got to be sure of what your line's going to be. And I went across the top of the root, so I wasn't down in that hole.
Super nice. I mean, he
I
make it
think
look
you
like
made
a
a mistake.
professional.
Though. From what I understand, he rode to the hole, not through the hole.
Yes, he stopped at the
he
hole
stopped
abruptly.
in the hole. And then
The most
front
impressive
flipped.
thing about the whole thing, obviously the best part is that he didn't get hurt. The most impressive thing is he did a full front flip. He didn't hook under his bars, which is
Obviously,
tragic,
that could have been
right?
bad, right?
But he lands right on his head, but only for like a tiny, no impact.
Yeah.
Just
Kinda
enough.
just scraped
It's
it,
almost
right?
like a sponge dotted mud right on the top of his helmet.
Nice big circle right
Yeah,
on top.
If you haven't seen it, go to the Colorado 500. I think it's in the day 2 edit. That you guys can check that out. But yeah,
it's
at the very end.
spectacular.
It
It's
is
the last
spectacular.
shot of that particular clip.
Yeah, we did an interview with him, and we're going to do its own piece for the Colorado 500 in the reels. I think today
You
or
really got
tomorrow.
to focus on that.
So we got to tell the story, right? We got to
For sure.
we cheated and used the shot. Now let's tell the story a little bit.
Exactly.
I
So,
think the main difference between everything they did for the media with the team, the editor, and everything they brought this year, and they were super prepared, is on our side, we brought a cell phone that has a camera built in.
Oh, that's what we
Yeah,
were using?
that's
Yeah,
what
I
we
couldn't
got.
remember if we had something different or not.
And that's pretty much the extent of our media team so far this trip.
It is. It's always the extent. One last thing. So, Cameron, you talked about would get the social media kind of rolling on this thing, and that will bring more eyeballs to this particular event. And Johnny, you rode. Did you bring your son to this event, or you had talks about it? I know that we're gonna circle in as soon as you kind of speak to how do we build this next generation, because I mean there's some of the oldest riders I've ever seen ride here, and that's a compliment. I hope I can ride.
Yeah.
I mean there's guys in their
Me too.
90s here that are riding.
There's a rider that's 94.
94, and I'm
And
telling you,
singer.
and he's
also-
a singer. He did
He
sing
did sing a
last
song
night.
last night at dinner.
So Cameron kind of mentioned like, hey, we'll build this social media, we'll get some eyes on this thing. How do you hand this event off to your next generation? Because like we talk about our sons, man, they don't want to ride with the old dudes.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, it's exactly. It's like if I bring Preston here, it's like he doesn't want to go on a trail ride with a bunch of, over 50-year-old guys. It's
Old,
like
fast
he
legends.
wants to hammer,
Yeah.
and he wants to do the toughest trails. And so I think getting somebody like Preston here and also, maybe some other younger riders and start building this thing back to like in the 90s when we had manufacturers here and they brought a lot of good
Yeah,
talent.
Team Green. I know I'm not to take it away
Honda
from Honda.
Honda Riders Club came and
They were here
supported.
too, yep.
And so there was a big host of
Manufacturer
pro
involvement.
riders.
Oh, and
too.
pros, yeah.
So I think that the level of trail here is that, and it's like if Preston comes here, he's going to want to come to it every year.
Yeah.
It's just a good ride, and he can do some good training, and I think that the camaraderie and the atmosphere afterwards is awesome. So
It's top notch.
Yeah. So it's like
It's really well organized on the back end, and I think a lot of people don't realize that the Colorado 500 doesn't plan your ride. They plan your hotels, some of the meals, the
Meals.
get-togethers, the fundraising. They give away all the money, but you plan your own ride. You grab the Onyx off-road app or whatever app you want to use, and you plan your own ride. So you
Yeah.
want to ride the hardest crap? You want to ride the
Hit it.
Alpine Trail?
Yeah.
Bite down, sucker. Let's go. So I think that like having Ricky Braybeck here last year,
Yeah.
That was
he would be
huge.
back this year, I think, but he went out and won Dakar again, the dang kid.
And he
got too
he's
busy.
Too big, too
No,
busy.
he's too busy.
I'm
They're
kidding.
testing. They're doing all this stuff, right? So Johnny just came off of weeks of durability, and there was just a race, and so he's trying to have a little bit of his own time with his
Yeah.
girlfriend too. He's
Right.
got a life to live,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I think once we get Preston up here, I think he'll be super into it. It just he's right in
And
that.
he'll
he's
talk
right.
and
He
tell
just
his
won
buddies.
Vegas to Reno, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they're out there testing. They're getting ready to win the next race,
Right.
But yeah, spreading the word. That's what the social. The television. It's not just to get more riders too. We're trying to raise more money for great
sure.
charitable aspect.
That's the most
What
important.
they do here. I mean, the riding is A+.
It's next level. Yeah.
But the charitable aspect is also right there, and that's what we're here to help build the
For sure.
awareness, because we want more people to have eyes on it. More companies like Rainbow
Yeah.
Sandals to get involved and put the money in to help the kids. There's so many different people. Yamaha Trail Riders Club, Onyx, whoever it is, man. People are in Team 44.
Yeah.
They're one of the teams here. If those people don't
And-
understand, there's teams that ride together. Team 44, man, they're huge giving back to the community. I saw them give $5,000 to a school today.
Right.
Right?
How
I mean,
cool. Right.
So cool.
It's amazing.
So
Yeah.
cool. Well, it is a great event, and
But we're better at the shenanigans than they are. I think.
and ultimately, when it comes down to it, the bro time and the cutting up is what makes this event epic too. So
And
Bring
it,
it.
I mean, this huge camaraderie, and then the for anybody who's never ridden in Colorado, this is my first time riding. I've been out here skiing and stuff. I've never been here in the
never
summertime.
seen it
So
with
that-
green.
Yeah,
green
I've
on
never
the
seen
side.
it be green and red, from what I understand. But
It's beautiful.
I mean, it's insane. You get up
Yeah.
in a pass that's 12, 13,000 feet, and you're looking off, and you're going down. I mean, good God.
It's beautiful.
It's-
We don't get to see that in Georgia, so.
I mean,
Well, Cameron, Johnny, thank you for your time, man. It's a pleasure to speak to you. It's a pleasure to get to see you, and this is part of the other cool thing on this event. I mean, you guys are right here. I spoke to Johnny about to wash his bike. I didn't let him go in front of me. I just washed my bike and make him wait.
He wouldn't go in front of you. He
Oh,
wouldn't do that.
I know he wouldn't, but it's like,
I might,
yeah, I'd let you.
but he wouldn't do that.
No, you'd push your bike in front of me and make me wash it, right?
No.
I do a good
I
job.
don't even
Nick
wash
does.
it.
yeah,
I
he
wash
washes
my
my
bike
bike
the
all
other
the time. He's awesome at it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the time, man. I hope the rest of your Colorado 500 goes great, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
very
you,
much.
guys.
Love it.
All right.
Thanks.
See
Appreciate
you.
it. See you.
All right. So,
Love you.
Nicholas,
Love
let's.
you. I forgot you.
Oh, yeah. Wait. Hold up.
Love you guys.
He loves you guys.
Yeah, that's the thing I always have to tell you.
Hugs.
Hey,
Love you
hugs,
too.
hugs.
Hey,
Love
and
you.
Cameron, I
Oh,
don't know if
there it
when
is. You
Cameron
got
was
it.
on our show, Did Johnny say it?
Johnny said it. Johnny
Oh.
Campbell loves Nick Blackman.
Oh my God! You're the first
Cameron
one,
didn't
Johnny.
say it.
I
That-
did
hey,
say it.
Did you?
Didn't? No.
Cameron
On our
said
show?
it first.
I love your hair.
Oh, there you go. There it is. Hey, that's
That
worth
counts.
something.
That
That's worth
counts.
something.
But we
All right.
didn't know if you heard it on our
Thank
last
you,
show.
guys.
On our last show when you were on a few weeks ago, I don't even know how I got started, but whenever who it was, probably because we were drunk doing the show, and so
Probably.
might have been Cliff. But anyway,
Probably Cliff.
right before we would hang up with whoever it was, I mean, I always just go,
Awkwardly.
I love you awkwardly, and then we usually get an awkward silence.
And then you hear him click slowly.
I said right back, I love you. I'm not
Yeah,
scared.
okay, all right,
The
thank
man
you.
hugs are cool with me, man.
That's right.
Whatever.
That says a lot about
Hey.
who you are as a man.
I'm not
Johnny-
scared.
Johnny Campbell's
loves
on
you.
point. I
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
He's,
Yeah,
he's
we
the
need
first.
we need to spread love more.
Exactly.
right.
Hey, I'm
It's
with you
this-
on that,
It's
Johnny.
what this country needs.
For
That's
sure.
right.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
All right, thanks
See
a lot,
ya.
guys. Love you guys.
All right.